Welcome everyone to Darlington, South Carolina for part-time qualifying for the ninth time of Season 4 of the Powerade Truck Series. We are here at one of the most famous racetracks in North America at Darlington Speedway, and we are set for the Mello Yello 200 tomorrow night here on the channel. But before we get to that, we get to have part-time qualifying to see which four make it into the show. And I'm not alone for this one. I am joined by Outsquaring for, I believe, the fourth time this season.
Yeah, I've done a lot of these races, haven't I? Yeah, Darlington Raceway, one of my favorite racetracks, as most of you probably all know. I'm excited for this race. Of course, this is a slightly different version than what I use on my end, but absolutely one of my favorite racetracks in the game. And I think we're in store for a great race tomorrow with the Mello Yello 200. Hey, great sponsor, by the way.
Yeah, of course, it is a little bit of a different version. It's the 2005 version, but in theory, we've done this version a lot on my channel. It races very similar to the old default version, especially in 1 and 2. And 3 and 4, it's kind of multi-groove. Maybe you can get the second lane to work, but it's very, very hard to get it done. It's mostly a 1-lane groove. And it might be a little bit tied together than most Darlington races, so I have to wait and see what happens there. But of course, this is race number 9 here tomorrow night at Darlington, and we will be halfway through Season 4 of the Power Truck Series already. And it's been a very tight season, to say the least, besides the top 2 in points of Stout and Buchanan. And we have to see who joins the full-time drivers in the Mello Yello 200, as times are about to get clocked in here at Darlington.
Yeah, I mean, if 3 and 4 are kind of like equal in terms of the lanes, and it's pretty much like the original version of Darlington, but different camera angle. I like this camera angle that we got here. Definitely get a feel for just how fast these guys are going around here. And of course, it's a very narrow groove racetrack, so the speeds that we have here at Darlington, considering how narrow the groove is something else. But absolutely love this track. It's just such a technical racetrack and such a historical racetrack as well. I mean, this is really the first super speedway, if you want to call it, in the country, built in 1950, just as it is for the most part. So, you know, back then in 1950, this place would have been, you know, what we would consider to be like Talladega and Daytona nowadays. So the fact that it's still around after over 70 years is amazing, and just absolutely love this place.
And one thing that we will have to watch out for is, even though it's a different version, still have to watch out for the Darlington stripes always long. And we saw right there, even though it's a different version, the outside lane of Boello still was able to get a good one off turn 4, and was able to stay ahead of Vander Miller, who's currently fastest in the session with a 26.843. And I will say this is a faster version of Darlington, and especially with these trucks, even with GNS physics, they are almost full throttle. At least on new tires, they're almost full throttle in 1 and 2. So that's going to play into a factor here in qualifying. So I bet the graph might play into a factor in qualifying, not so much in the race, but especially here in qualifying, as the 62 just jumps up to the top of the board of Logan Williams, and he's going to jump straight down to the pits with that 26.7.
Yeah, 26 is definitely a very quick time around here. Of course, under the lights, a lot cooler, so these guys definitely with a lot more grip than they normally would under the daytime, so no surprise to see them run as fast as they are, but still very fascinating to see how it all ends up shaking out. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That's all I got to say. We had some great races on my end here at Darlington, and I would expect a pretty good one here in the Powerade Truck Series.
Yeah, we used this version in the JBL Cup Series last season, and it was a pretty good show for the 7500 over there. So, pretty confident here tonight. A lot of unknowns. Of course, the last 2 races at Texas and Kansas had some of the most crashes we've seen all season. In Texas, we had 2 cautions, and then Kansas, we had 3 cautions and a flip. And one driver ended up flipping twice. So hopefully we can have a little bit calmer races to end out the regular season here, with Darlington, Charlotte, and Pocono, the last 2 races in the regular season. But right now, the 26 jumps up to the top of the board now, and a fast time from Eric Monaco, 26.731, and then Williams is in second. The 97 of Sim Oskin and Boedo rounds out the top 4, Mello barely outside. These times are very tight. 731, 769, 774, 782, and 787 the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, with how fast these guys are going around here and just how much grip they have, there isn't as much of a margin of error around this place. So, very tight margin of error around here at Darlington Raceway, at least to this version of the racetrack. But definitely going to be intriguing to see, what we end up seeing once we actually start racing. Will we see a driver kind of lead all 37 laps? Will we see a lot of passing? It could be difficult to pass here, more so than what we're used to. So, going to be a fascinating race, no doubt about it, but intriguing to see how it all play out.
Yeah, I think one thing that's going to stay the same is that no matter what happens, turn 1 and 2 is no man's land if you get stuck on that outside lane. And there will be a round of pit stops, around 22 laps of fuel in the 37 lap race, so that's going to play into effect as well. As number 3 of all miles just jumped up to 2nd place, 2nd fastest, right behind Aaron Miller, and Miller is 6th fastest here in qualifying. And Miles, he's been filling in a handful of races in that 45 machine. Of course, his VP was at Kansas and here tomorrow night at Darlington. And Miles trying to get into the show in his normal ride in his 3 machine.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Miles can in fact pull off here. Currently running 2nd quickest. And I think at this time, which is the way the tire wear is here at Darlington, I don't think we're going to really see much of an improvement on anybody's time. So I think what we got is what it will end up locking into, unless we have some more guys come down the pit lane here and get some fresh tires. But other than that, I think the guys that we have pretty much going to be locked into place.
Yeah, most likely it will be Monaco, the 3 of our Miles, Oskin, and Williams will most likely be the 4 trucks make it into the show. We got a 4 truck group here. Mauser and Moscow trying to maybe get into the show and steal one of those top 4 spots, but we are seeing the racing in these trucks. They are able to pass. They are able to get side by side, especially in 3 and 4. And in 1 and 2, it's mostly 1 lane. So it's going to be interesting what ends up happening here. It's a very short race. It's still on the mile and a half, at most mile and a half, it's 34 laps, but at Darlington at a 1.3 mile track, I believe, it's going to be 37 laps, so a little bit longer than the mile and a half, but it's not really as far as the laps wise, so I'm going to have to wait and see what happens here, as we got 2 minutes left in the session. Tazo's really falling off now late in the session, with some of these guys doing a total of 15 laps. All the 10 actually did as fast a lap last time by even on old tires, so I think, and maybe not on old tires, but went back out and went faster.
Yeah, you definitely can get a good time in the first, couple of laps, but after a while, the tire wear really comes into effect, and we'll absolutely see that in the race tomorrow night as well. So it's going to be interesting to see, how that ends up coming into effect. But just looking at it right here, that 13 trying to get around the 10 machine here, it's just so difficult to do so. So I don't know, whoever starts on the pole for tomorrow's race could very well go to victory lane here at Darlington.
Yeah, even though it's a faster track, it might be a little bit of a cycle for the first lap or 2. Just with the field so bunched up, it might end up being a trap position race here at Darlington tomorrow night, even with a different version. And it is looking really good for the top 4, and it's really looking good for Eric Monaco and his number 28 machine to make it into the show, along with Owen Miles, Sam Oskin, and Logan Williams, with about 38 seconds left here in Mello Yello 200 part-time qualifying. I love that name. It just flows off the tongue very well.
Mello Yello 200.
It's a really good name. And about 20 seconds left, and it's gonna be an interesting one of tomorrow night here at Darlington. Of course, when this comes out on, I believe, I want to say the 18th, I'd probably be all the way at Minneapolis. So
yeah, I'll be in Indianapolis the week after that too. We'll both be there.
So yeah, for anyone that's
gonna be
wondering,
a lot of fun. We'll both be there.
Yeah, that's gonna be flipping fantastic.
Greatest race in the world. Doubt about it.
for sure. And of course, one of the best racetracks in the world, Darlington, one of the best ovals racing here tomorrow night. Got one more reset. I think this will do it here for the top four: Monaco, Miles, Williams, and Oskin. And that, ooh, no, 30 more seconds. Man, okay. I was not expecting like another reset, but we got multiple pats, but I don't think it's gonna matter here. I think this might be the last reset. The last reset.
I will say, the drivers who are advancing, at least over on, my side of things, are some of the more experienced drivers. So interesting how it worked out like that with Miles and 28 of Eric Monaco, Sam and Oskin, Logan Williams. I mean, those are some really solid drivers there who are moving on to this race. So we're going to have a lot of great drivers in tomorrow night's race here for this Mello Yello 200.
Yeah, for sure. Monaco, Miles, Williams, and Oscar, all very good drivers. They will all make it into the race number 9 on the season tomorrow night, the halfway point on the season. And then for Moscow on down, they will unfortunately have to wait till Charlotte on Memorial Day weekend, kinda, on Thursday, May 26th, I believe, May 25th, something like that, right before Memorial Day weekend at Charlotte. And until then, for the part-time guys, these guys will pack up and go to Charlotte. But for everyone else, we establish what race here at Darlington to do here for the Mello Yello 200. And that will be coming up tomorrow here on NS Racing 97. Congrats to Monaco, Miles, Williams, and Oskin for moving on. And until tomorrow night, we will see you guys later. Bye.